man, shit, nigga. They tell their head over, nigga. When Eve did the Adam, I just put my love on line. Swinging out like sex, and I can't let no hold it lie. I don't feel these rappers, so they lies is a travesty. Ain't no competition, ain't no rivalry. Niggas think I'm playing out here, one word they say that this shit light work. People humming one of us, he might lose his life first. Sucker like a stay alert, never cop this special nigga. Anything with people emphasis, what's that blessing? You put that open blood, then you know I'm gonna get active with you. Fuck the opposition, I see vision. Let me tell you quick, rappers can't spin, I ain't listening. It's a thing, if revenge was gonna come at 9, stomp that bitch like James. How I walk, we gon' run the summer. It's gonna be historical. But they make it play, make them niggas call the audible. And you running shit, but they question is rhetorical. Bitch, I don't want me to cookies with the oil. I'ma get a crack as hell, should've never kidnapped my family. I can't do that, but I be the last nigga standing. Doing life city for my niggas, pray you understand it. I'ma put a switch on this Glock and call it young play. You real cheating on the dot, you a bird feeder. Claim me in demon, what's a demon to a cow liver? When it says so, I ain't here, this shit like it. Oh, who got the gun, it's all who gon' up their pipe first. I turn a bad situation to a name. 20 soldiers from the dead, this ain't nothing change. 3 shots, I'ma live like Eric Jones. When I run it, never bite the hand and teach you, you won't never get that hand back. This bitch about 10%, I don't wanna hear none of that. He dropping sword, fuck him, just make sure you get that cover back. Look around, he ain't with him, probably cause he never was. Now I see it like you with that anger for your brothers. Everybody wanna be rich and poor, dark him like Alpha. Play if he want to stand in the trunk like Lee Malvo. A certified rubber ass nigga, I am not a toy. Hey, I with that hollow stuff, yeah, this the real core. Feel like I'm a jack when I'm in Fayetteville, you feel your boy. Still up on my brain, still I think that's all that I do. When I get it, boy, loud, they gon' stop to call it bail, boy. Fucking gang, come out on the demons like I'm a hell, boy.
Son of Christ, man. That man is going to say, man, Shalom Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shabbat Thumbs, ISUPK, Kentucky, coming out of West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana. This is Priest and Officer Sergeant Quash.
Priest and Officer Hawamar.
We're about to get down into this history class, man. As you can see, the title is just, Columbus most definitely is an animal. And we're gonna go over his, just put it this way. We're gonna go over things, and I want you to just ask yourself, how do you celebrate this? How is this a celebration? How is this allowed? You know what I'm saying? And then I'm only gonna speak to Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people, man.
That's right.
Because listen, let the white man have Columbus Day. I mean, why you want to cancel their holiday? Let them enjoy it. Let them celebrate it. Let them, enjoy their history. Quit trying to take their history from them, man. They're proud to be animals. They're proud to be the devil, the Bible speaks of. Quit trying to take them, man. Let them celebrate Columbus Day. This is for Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. Why would you celebrate it? Is the question. The question is why would you? Go ahead, Brad.
Come, sir. So we finna get into it. Now, this first bit of information we got for you is from a book called Columbus, The Four Voyages, and it was the new autobiography written by Lawrence Berggren. And this is going to go over a couple of cases dealing with Columbus being an animal. Now, the first is Columbus kidnapped an indigenous Caribbean woman and gave her to a crew member to rape. And this is on page 143. And it's a quote from Michel de Queno, one of Columbus's crewmen. This is a quote. It says, "While I was in the boat, I captured a beautiful woman whom the Lord Admiral gave to me. When I had taken her to my cabin, she was naked. As I was filled with desire to take my pleasure with her and attempted to satisfy my desire. She was unwilling, and so treated me with her nails that I wish I had never begun. I then took a piece of rope and whipped her soundly, and she let forth such an incredible scream that you would not believe your ears. Eventually, we came to such terms, I assure you, that you would have thought she had been brought up in a school for whores. Salakia, sir. I don't have any words for that one.
I mean, what words can you have besides what the title is? And that's Columbus is an animal. You know what I'm saying? And this is, throughout this class, all I'm going to ask is why do Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians celebrate this man's day? It is totally disrespectful to the Lord's chosen people, man. Native Indians, man, and those Hispanic brothers and sisters, those natives, they were all natives of that land at that time. You know what I'm saying? And it is very disrespectful to celebrate that day towards them. You see what I'm saying? Very disrespectful. I've said it before, man. Just imagine, if natives and Mexicans and Cubans and Colombians and all of them, celebrated the the day where blacks was enslaved and murdered. Imagine if there was a Jim Crow day and the white man celebrated it and got off of work and all of that. Man, take your day off. I ain't worried about that. But the thing I'm talking about is, how do you celebrate Columbus Day? You want to be such an American and be a part of their system that you totally disrespecting your brother, the Lord's chosen people.
And we finna get into actually how it ties into so-called Black Americans too.
Absolutely.
We are. All right. Number 2, on the island of Hispaniola, a member of Columbus's crew publicly cut off an Indian's ear to shock others in submission. This is on page 170. After an attack, more than 2,000 Indians, Columbus had an underling, Alonzo de Ojeda, bring him 3 Indian leaders whom Columbus then ordered publicly beheaded. Ojeda had ordered his men to grab another Indian, bring him to the middle of his village, and cut off his ears in retribution for the Indians failing to help the Spaniards when forging a stream. So they were forced into labor to cut a man-made river, a man-made stream, and the ones that wouldn't comply had their ears cut off publicly in front of everybody else.
Yeah.
Now, Salakia, sir, if I may, this sounds like the indigenous version of the Willie Lynch story.
That's heavy. That's heavy. That's exactly what it sounds like. And if I may, real quick, do you see how there's no embarrassment?
Mm-hmm.
There's no embarrassment here. It's public. You can go anywhere and get this information. They don't hide it. As a matter of fact, they made a day for it. They made a day to celebrate it. That man getting his ear cut off is celebrated still right now in 2022 right now. When did he start? What was it, like 1492 was when? I mean, come on, 1492, and that man's being celebrated. And it goes to show what this title says, and I'm gonna just keep saying it over and over. This is an animal, man. This is an animal. And the people that celebrate him, the people that big him up enough to give him a day, they are animals, man. Salakia.
And if I may, the Bible calls them beasts of the field.
They are
They're
beasts of the
absolutely
field.
animals, sir.
Yes. Everything the UPK do is biblical. We're not just calling them animals to be just rude. That's just what they are biblically. Salakia.
All right, the next section. 56 years after Columbus's first voyage, only 500 out of 300,000 Indians remain on the island of Hispaniola. Population figures from 500 years ago are necessarily precise. Bergman estimates that about 300,000 inhabitants of Hispaniola in 1492. Between 1494 and 1496, 100,000 died. In a 2-year period, sir. In a 2-year period, they murdered 100,000 people. In 1508, the population was down to 60,000. And by 1548, only 500.
Animals. Straight up and down animals. And like I said, I'm gonna repeat this. This is just for Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. All of the other people go ahead and celebrate Christopher Columbus, enjoy the history and the, whatever. But if you Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, it is very disrespectful for you to celebrate this day. The Native Indians are our brothers. They are our brothers. I understand we have been tricked and lied to. Some of us hate them, some of them hate us. I get that. But we are all the Lord's chosen people, man. And we sit up here and celebrate their destruction. I will say it again. It would be an outrage if Native Indians and Hispanics celebrated a Jim Crow Day, man. And then the crazy thing is in a matter of weeks, you're going to put the icing on the cake with your turkey. The disrespect has to stop. And this is why we exposing this, man, just because to be an animal. Just an animal. Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians should never celebrate Columbus Day. And they should know what Columbus is. Salaki.
All right, next section. Settlers under Columbus sold 9 and 10-year-old girls into sex slavery. This one he admitted himself in a letter he wrote to Don Juana de la Torre, a friend of the Spanish queen. There are plenty of dealers who go about looking for girls, those of whom from 9 to 10 are now in demand, and for all ages, a good price must be paid. So like I said, I can't say nothing else besides what we keep saying over and over again. These people are absolute animals.
Yeah. And just for one more point of that, you celebrating a pedophile, you're celebrating a murderer, an animal of a rare animal at that. These people are rare animals, man. There's nothing like them on the planet. You see what I'm saying? And to justify a holiday that this is the thing, is they would look at you crazy if you didn't celebrate Columbus Day. It's not that it's a holiday. Go ahead, white man. Celebrate your day. But if Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians don't celebrate it, they're looked at a certain way because you're not being a proper slave, man. You're not being a good slave when you do not celebrate their victimization of you. Whatever holiday you want to say, 4th of July, that's celebrating the victimization of you. To Christmas, to Halloween, I don't care which one, is deeply rooted in you not serving the Lord. As long as you are following those days, you are not serving the Lord, man. Salaki.
And if I may, sir, it doesn't surprise me at all that they build statues to this pedophile. They just built another statue to Alfred Kinsey, the pedophile who's responsible for sex education in school.
Exactly.
They just put a statue up in was it Indiana University or one of them schools in Indiana?
Mm-hmm. And it proudly put it up.
Right.
I mean, did it with no second thought, because they don't. You gotta understand, they don't care about your respect as a human being. And I'm gonna say this. Y'all go ahead and Google this. When President Trump honored the Native Indians, remember he honored them. He honored the Native Indians with a picture of Andrew Jackson in the back. Now you know everything the president do is choreographed. It's scrutinized to the highest. The way he looks, the way the flags are. So this is something that's planned. You see what I'm saying? They understand one thing: white supremacy will never work without our participation. You are helping white supremacy when you celebrate Columbus Day, the destruction of Native people, the people whom we call Hispanic today. You see what I'm saying? This destruction of our brothers and sisters, man. Now, I know no one wants black and Hispanics to be brothers, but we're brothers biblically. So let me just talk to just the so-called black man. How dare you celebrate a Columbus Day or Thanksgiving, to be exact? Because those are days celebrating the destruction of your brother. And I'll say it again. You would march, cry, and whine if they ever had a day called Jim Crow, where natives and Hispanics celebrated your destruction, man. Now, we understand that there's natives and Hispanics that celebrate Columbus Day. They celebrate their own destruction. That's why the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana is here to teach our people that this is an animal. And if you got a comment, put the comment down and do the research. Prove us wrong. Prove us wrong. By the end of this class, just prove us wrong. Prove to us that he's not an animal. Justify Columbus Day and the celebration of it. Every black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, go ahead and leave a comment and you tell us if we're wrong. Salaki.
All right. Columbus's men used native indigenous people as dog food. In the early years of Columbus's conquest, there were butcher shops throughout the Caribbean where native Indian bodies were sold as dog food. There was also a practice known as the infernal chase, in which Indians were hunted by dogs. These dogs, who also wore Spanish armor and had been fed human flesh, were a fierce match for Indians. Live babies were also fed to these dogs as sport, sometimes in front of horrified parents. Now, Salakia, sir, again, these classes are to show, basically what we teach in the ISUPK, that blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians are the chosen people of God. We hear about where our Judite brothers were, babies were fed to alligators and used as alligator bait. But how often do we hear about Hispanic and Native babies fed to dogs?
And there's a reason for that. Like I've stated before, it's because if they ever did that, then the Hispanic and Native population will automatically realize, you know what? We black too. These got to be our brothers. They're listen, we treated the same way historically.
Mm-hmm.
Correct? We treated the same way. Now look at this. Not only is it not talked about, but if you notice, every 2 to 3 years is a slave movie. Slave this, slave that, slave this. Where is the movie showing Native people being grinded up and fed to dog? Where that movie at? Where's that movie at every other year? Showing the pain and the suffering of Hispanic people, man. What they went through with this country. They was lynched.
Mm-hmm.
How come we don't never hear that? How come there's not, show me the movie. I ain't seen every movie. Mm-hmm. But show me the movie that's showing Hispanics lynched. And then after that, show me part 2. Show me the movies that's showing Native Indians lynched. Show me the movie. I'm sure it might be a B movie or some kind of I movie, or somebody done did on their phone, or whatever the case may be. Show me the big production. I'll show you many big productions of black people going through it. Because right now, black have become the biggest crybaby, Salakia. The biggest crybaby for the attention of our enemy. Don't get me wrong. Hispanics is right there. It's a battle to see who's going to be the biggest crybaby. If Hispanics cry a little bit more, we might start seeing these movies. And you won't see another slave movie again because they never want us to put two and two together that we are the same. Our punishment, our destruction is the same.
Yeah, so like itself. I mean, I hate to keep reading Jeremiah 50 and 33 in every class.
I don't know why you hate it.
But it's such a heavy scripture. I'm gonna go ahead. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 50 and 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all that took them captive held them fast. They refused to let them go.
Get into an ISUPK class and understand what that scripture is telling you. Black Hispanics and Native Indians are the same people. Biblically. But we've been taught to hate each other, man. And this day, today, is evidence of that. It's evidence of that. Because how dare we celebrate the destruction of our people, man? It's a lot.
We finna bring home, sir. Columbia University. Columbia University wasn't always called Columbia University. It was called King's College. They renamed the school Columbia University in 1784. The school's reason for naming it after Columbus is because it embodied the patriotic fervor that had inspired the nation's quest for independence. And we finna get into it. Columbia University reveals details of its ties with slavery. In 1755, the Board of Governors of a new college was sworn into office in Manhattan. King's College, as it was then called, was not far from the municipal slave market at Wall and Pearl Street in New York City. The man presiding over the ceremony was Daniel Horsmanden, a colonial Supreme Court justice who had previously presided over the trial of alleged slave conspirators. One of the men he swore in as governor of the new college was Henry Beekman, whose merchant family owned and traded slaves. Thus begun the entwined histories of slavery in America and the institution that will become Columbia University. Now, for some of the details of that history are publicly available, Columbia is the latest major university to publish a preliminary report and pull up a website with details about its historical ties to slavery. From the outset, slavery was intertwined with the life of the college. Preliminary report by Columbia professor Eric Fonner states, of the 10 men who served as presidents of Columbia between 1754 and the end of the Civil War, all owned slaves.
Absolutely. And it's a racist school today. Columbia University is a white and Asian school. It is today. You got more Asians at Columbia University than Black and Hispanics put together. You see what I'm saying? But the Blacks and Hispanics want to get in there so bad, man. So bad. That's, if you live in New York, that's one of the schools you want to go to. But it is predominantly white in the 60s. And I think Asians are almost 20%. And let me tell you something. The Black and Hispanics want to get in that school so bad. And that's the curse we got, man. We want to be up under them so bad. The school is named Columbia. If you knew anything about that name or anything about that history, that's the last college you would want to go to, man. Let me say it again. Could you imagine a college called Jim Crow? Could you imagine it? I mean, they do bad with Brigham Young and, and Sam Houston. I mean, they do bad. But Columbia, got a country with the Lord's chosen people down there named Columbia. And they got pride in it. I love my Hispanic brothers and sisters, but how do you have pride to be Colombian? You'll kill somebody. You kill somebody if they say something about a Colombian. That's your raza, that's your race, that's your, you know what I'm saying? You willing to die for the man that destroyed your people. You will die for that name. You will rep that name. I'm Colombian with pride. That's like a black man saying, I'm Jim Crowish. I'm just saying, you will never see a Jewish man say, I'm a Hitlerin. They'll never identify with someone who destroyed them. But of course, a black man will also. It's no better to say he American. It's no better to say he African American. We 2 times stupider than the Colombians. African American, 2 damn continents of people who can't stand us. Don't make no damn sense, man. But this Columbia, this love for Columbus it's so pleasuring to our enemies. It's so pleasuring that they get to celebrate our destruction. Salaki.
And Salaki, is that they still get that big picture of Columbus out front? That big
Columbia University,
20-foot statue up front?
I'm not sure, but I know it's. I doubt if they took it down. Salakia. I mean, I doubt if they. I mean, you just think about the cities in America. Columbus, we got one right up the way. Columbus, Ohio. You know what I'm saying? It's everywhere. Anytime you hear that, y'all, Colombian, Columbus, and all of this is celebrating the destruction of the Lord's chosen people. To us, in our blindness, it's just a name. That's why it's so important that you get in class and learn what you're celebrating, learn what you're representing. Get back to the Lord's names, the names that the Lord gave you, not your enemy. Not your enemy. Salaki.
All right, it says all of the original donors to the institution had a connection to slavery via ownership or trade. So Salaki, so it's saying that the people that paid the money to have the institution built, you know, to make it a so-called institution of higher learning in the first place, all came from slave money.
The precinct officer ISUPK said it's a Columbia, Kentucky, which is heavy. It's deep. Listen, a lot of these like states are named after natives. A lot of people don't know that. Native slang, native. It's part of their conquering of us. You see what I'm saying? It's part of the conquering of us. They love that California is California. They love that Kentucky is Kentucky, Massachusetts. They love those names, man, because it proves who they conquered. And they love it. And let me tell you something, man. They going to continue to celebrate your destruction. Why? Because you celebrate it. You sit in the room with white folks long enough and call each other nigga. They going, you right, my nigga. They gonna feel comfortable saying it. Am I correct?
Come.
You enjoy they hate so much that they comfortable in they hate. They're comfortable in it. Don't get me wrong. There is an aspect of them that want it hidden because they want to seem like they're good people. But the vast majority of them, man, on Columbus Day, they celebrating it. They know what it's about. You thinking, oh, it's just a day off. So disrespectful. So disrespectful to say that's a day off. It's like I'll get into that later. It's lucky.
All right. The last thing about Columbia, it was a project done by a student named Jordan Broomington. Found an old advertising for Columbia University. It says 28 Columbia students and affiliates submitted 43 advertisements advertising advertising fugitives or selling enslaved human beings.
Damn. I'm looking at this real quick, and it says as of 2020, ethnic diversity, the white population is 65.1%, Asians are 17.2%, Hispanic Latino 4.7%, and Black African American is 4.2%. And you know, this is a college that I'm telling you that Black and Hispanics hold so prestigious. You see what I'm saying? It's such an honor for a Black or Hispanic to be accepted to Columbia. It's sad, man. It's sad that our people don't realize the plot and the destruction of them, man. You know, you look. That's any college, by the way. You don't look too much better talking about some Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? Notre Dame and their history, Alabama's history, Ole Miss history. But we fight to break the doors down to get into those colleges, to make those colleges billions of dollars, man. In turn, also disrespecting our destruction and celebrating it all at the same time.
All right, so Columbus, we'll go ahead and lay in this plane, sir, if I may.
Absolutely.
Christopher Columbus, there was a book written in 1894, and the book is called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discovery. This is on page 15. He, talking about Columbus, was very fond of reading the Bible and the books of Ezra, which was written by a Jew who lived outside of Palestine. According to his own assertion, the incentive that impelled him to plan his discovery was not a love of science, but a love of his interpretation of the books of Ezra. Again, this is a book called Christopher Columbus and the Participation of the Jews in the Spanish and Portuguese Discoveries. The book was written in 1894, and what I just read was page 15. Now, what is it about the book of Ezra's? And before I yield, sir, I'm going to read the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 13. I'm going to start with verse 40. Those are the 10 tribes which were carried away prisoners out of their own land in the time of Osea the king, whom Salmanasar, the king of Assyria, led away captive. And he carried them over the waters, and so they came into another land. Verse 41. But they took his counsel among themselves that they would leave the multitude of the heathen and go forth into a further country where never mankind dwelt. Verse 42. That they might there keep their own statutes, which they never kept in their own land. Verse 43. And they entered into the Euphrates by the narrow places of the river. Verse 44. For the Most High then shewed signs for them and held still the flood till they were passed over. Verse 45. For though that country was a great way to go, namely of a year and a half, and the same region is called Arsareth. So Christopher Columbus, in the interpretation of the books of Ezra, knew exactly what he would find when he got here.
Absolutely.
Knew exactly who he would find when he got here.
Absolutely.
So he's not just He's not just selling child slaves into slavery, not just savage Indians. He's not cutting off the ears of savage Indians. Columbia University isn't based off of the money gathered from savage Africans sold into slavery. All of this is done to the Lord's people, sir.
Absolutely. And it's biblical. That's the thing that the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge always tries to hammer in, man, is that we are a biblical school. We are not just up here just talking. We are explaining and talking about what the Bible says. The Bible says this. It is not your opinion. It's not my opinion. Now, to me, it seems that the separation from a place that would celebrate such destruction of a people would be natural. You would think that there's no way in the world this would even have to be discussed. And as we drive all around here, you know, we go up to Indianapolis, we got to pass white land. This center in a city called White Land. You see what I'm saying? Columbus, so many disrespectful names and reminders in this country. But we are such a cursed and destroyed people. We don't even see it, man. We totally overlook it. It means nothing to us. I just want to hammer in the disrespect for the Lord's chosen people, whom we mistakenly call Native Indians, whom we mistakenly call Hispanic, because they are the Lord's chosen people, man. Make no mistake about it. So, you know, I just real quick, I just want to read some things that, you know, Columbus said, and I'm going to make this real brief. Like I said, if anybody can prove us to be false in us calling these people and this man an animal, I would like you to put that in the comments. I would like to discuss that, because this man said, speaking of the natives, that they should be good servants and intelligent, for I observed that they quickly took in what was said to them. How did they do that? See, sometimes you have to understand. You hear the story of him discovering something new, and you hear that, you know, these people, how were they communicating? How were they listening? How was he able to easily grasp what they were saying, or they vice versa?
Mm-hmm.
I can break that down in a whole nother class, because we absolutely know that they knew from their Latin languages and learning that they also knew some Hebrew, which was spoken. But I don't want to get too deep. Just know that he said that, not me. Columbus said it. Go ahead.
Well, if I may, just real brief, you would have no Greek and Latin without Hebrew.
Absolutely. But he said they took in what was said to them, and I believe that they would easily be made Christians, as it appeared to me that they had no religion. Now, this man done came up on all these temples and all of these different things that he came up upon. You gotta listen and read the writings of this animal, because to them, that isn't religion. Your way, black man. Listen, and I'm not saying they were following the law, statutes, and commandments. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to make a point that when you follow your way, when you do your things, it's always belittled. You know what I'm saying? It's savagery. It's not real. Oh, that's nothing that they doing. That's why when you don't celebrate Christmas and Thanksgiving and Columbus Day and all of their days, you are seen as the different one, the special one. You see what I'm saying? When you're just following the Bible. because the Bible tells you not to do it. And the same Christians will tell you to do it. Did I say that right? Am I making any sense? The Christians will tell you to celebrate Christmas. The Christians will have their babies trick-or-treating. The Christians will have their people barbecuing and picnicking and enjoying Columbus Day. Same with Thanksgiving. When the Bible says not to. This is why the Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians must separate from these people in a spiritual way. Let them celebrate it. You don't. Do you have something to say? So
So I just wanted to add something real brief. It said they had no religion. I mean, we've got the laws where they said that they saw mosques in the New World. Now we know that they weren't mosques.
Yeah.
That was just their word because they used to be under Islamic rule, prior to Columbus. But they said they saw these temples all over Hispaniola, all over Haiti.
Of course.
So how can they have no religion?
Because he's belittling them.
Mm-hmm.
Because to them, that isn't religion. The same things that they tried to do with the pagans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they don't have any belief. That's what they said to the pagans. But the pagans fought the war for theirs. And so, now you had to add a little paganism into Christianity. But just to belittle them and to let the people know I got them. We can convert them to Christianity. Listen, if he was cutting ears off and doing all of this destruction for them not mining correctly or whatever the case may be, he was doing these to people that he said he wanted to convert to Christianity. That's because the religion of Christianity does not see other Christians as human. You are a convert and you're only accepted because you're saying you believe in their God. But that's a whole nother class. Like I say, I want to stay on this animal here. So he also went on to say that these people are very simple as regards the use of arms. He's talking about their defenses. As your highnesses will see, or sick, from the 7 that I caused to be taken, to bring home and learn our language and return, unless your highnesses should order them all to be brought to the Castile or the castle, or to be kept as captives on the same island. For with 50 men, they can all be subjugated and made to do what is required of them. So I read that to say this. All the way up to the top, the Pope. Because when we're talking about Christopher Columbus, the kings and the queens aren't the top. Am I correct?
Okay.
The Pope. The Christianity at its highest level set an order out to oppress our people. So just as stupid as you celebrating Columbus Day is you celebrating Christianity. It's the same thing. It was the order of the highest Christian official at that time to enslave your people. Call them a rich port. Puerto Ricans will kill you for talking about their name, but they name Rich Port. Am I correct? How are they a rich port? That's what you are? The Pope wanted to oppress the Lord's chosen people because that's the mission of Christianity. Christianity does not follow the Bible, man. This is an example of an attack, a documented attack against the Lord's chosen people by the Christian religion. And you say you Christian. You say you Catholic, Hispanic, man. When the history is showing you that it is the very system that destroyed your people. Real quick, this might not mean nothing to y'all, but it means something to me when I read this. This is what people are thinking about about today. September 9th, 2022 at 7:35 a.m. This was off of a Columbus chat group, and the girl's name was Brittany, a white girl. And I only took this one because it was the general consensus of the chat. She said, I believe we should keep Columbus Day as a holiday regardless of the opposition. He is an important figure in history for us European Americans, descendants of settlers and European colonists. I mean, listen, it's not racist to celebrate Columbus Day. It's just some people want to continue defending Native Americans and want to be SJWs. I don't know what the hell that is. Somebody can tell me what an SJW is. I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it, but there several people used it. So it means something. So did you hear what the brother brought out? The cutting off the ears, the killing, the pedophilia, the rape, the murders. None of that matters because the only thing they're concerned about is their history. Let them have their history. Separate from what this animal wants to celebrate. Why do you have to celebrate it? Why do you have to go against what the Lord wants you to do? You got something you want to say? Oh, Salakia. And real quick, you jump in when you want to, because I mean, listen, this is heavy because another female, Leslie, on the same chat, said that Europeans were more advanced than indigenous people of North America, period. In near every way, science, engineering, shipbuilding, weaponry, knowledge of physics, astronomy, in architecture, culinary arts, etc. All lies. But this is what they think. It is the reason they were able to dominate and conquer the indigenous people. Put simply, they kicked butt. They were the victors. Europeans were also more advanced in technology, knowledge, and civilization than any of the people of South America and any of the people of sub-Saharan Africa. Europeans thought themselves superior to those other peoples as a result of European knowledge, technology, etc., being so vastly superior. Loosely speaking, Asians, Arabs, and Europeans led the world in advancement. The people of the Americas and the people of sub-Saharan Africa trailed by far behind, and advance comparatively. They advance very little, is what she's trying to say. Most were still living a Stone Age primitive existence up until contact with Asian, Arabs, and Europeans. By far, most Black people in the world never knew civilization until colonialism. Colonialism. Still today, there are Blacks who have never known civilization. That's why there's statues up. That's why there's cities built. That's why there's so much remembrance of him. Do you know if you can find a coin from Columbus, it's priceless? Have you noticed that? Anything from anyone that has destroyed the Lord's chosen people is the most expensive. Go get a Robert E. Lee. Go get a Lee bullet or a Lee cape. You see what I'm saying? Go get a pen that Hitler used. Go get something from George Washington, a slave owner. Anybody that has crushed our people They're immortalized, man. They everything, correct? Go ahead.
Yeah, so like yourself, I made it was too much to break down in that, and just it's so much to unpack. But she said that there was no civilization when there's pyramids, most of them buried, all up and down the Mississippi River. There's even a native Indian settlement underwater in what they call Rock Lake, Wisconsin. It's a man-made lake,
Mm-hmm.
and there's pyramids under there.
I mean,
These people buried. They made a lake over a whole native Indian city.
yeah. I mean, but we know that. Us in the ISUPK know that, and it means something. The propaganda is you would be nothing if we did not enslave you. You would be nothing if he didn't cut that ear off, if he didn't rape those children. You would be nothing. You would still be in the Stone Age. Go ahead.
Yeah, so Lockie, if I may, she mentioned military. Those bows were far more efficient than that musket that took 5 minutes to load and get one shot off.
And that's why the only reason why they began to win is when they started using their deception. Brute force, they was getting knocked off. They was getting whooped. Read it. I know they don't make movies on it. I know they don't make movies where the natives are winning. Go ahead. It's like it.
And if I may, the only reason that they really begun to win, besides what you're bringing out, sir, is disease.
That's what I'm saying. They used chemical warfare.
I think it was estimated that 15 million Aztec Indians died from smallpox in the first 5 years.
Yes.
That's incredible. 15 million in 5 years.
Well, that's why they was, that's why they was called savages. Because they actually took baths. And to these people who couldn't bathe, never bathe, you know what I'm saying? Walking around like Linus with a cloud of funk following them. That is savagery to them. How the hell you gonna wash your tail? That don't make no sense to them. And they killed our people with not chemical, but biological weapons, putting it in the blankets. Go ahead.
If I may, what you're saying is so heavy. You ever heard the stories about Queen Elizabeth's chamber?
Yes.
About how she was considered the cleanest woman in England, and she bathed once a month.
Yes. Because she was later viewed that way. She was a weirdo. They thought she was crazy. She in the water again. Like this woman crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's been 30 days and she in the water doing washing again. What's wrong with her? Listen, man. The animals have the narrative right now. And they will teach in his writings, he will say that they were savages, no technology, when there's things that they built that cannot be built today. They can't do it. There's rocks and big rock formations and things that was built down in South America. They don't know how that was built. Puma Punku. Mm-hmm. They don't know. They can't do that today. With their mega cranes, they can move one of those blocks. Like I said, that's a whole nother class. But those people still were less was less advanced than white people. Let me tell you something. White people take destruction as technology. That's technology to them. Because they have a plane that you can't see that'll shoot a rocket from 400 miles away and kill everybody. That's technology to them. Everything else they had nothing to do with creating. You can break it down. Am I lying? The computers and the fiber optic and all of this other stuff, cell phones, to all of this other stuff that actually can help people, they had nothing to do with. Go ahead.
So like I said, if I may, what you're bringing out is heavy. That's all in a book called The Iceman Inheritance.
Yes. Which is a good book, by the way.
I still have it.
Yeah, that's a good book, by the way. I ain't read that in a minute. I was in a cage when I read that. I'm gonna have to get that from you, shoot, because I read that in a cage, for real. You know, and like I said, you know, the white man is the best at destroying. He got enough weapons on the planet to kill everybody. He can make the guns to kill you. I've said this before. Why don't you create a bomb that makes the earth grow? Drop something that causes vegetation, not right. That makes it unlivable for 100, 200 years. That's what they good at, man. And that's what they celebrate. Like they said, they kicked butt. And that's the point. And that's why it's celebrated. They kicked butt. That's why these big Hollywood production play, they have a new slave movie. They love it. They see LeBron James going down, taking off from damn near the free throw line, dunking over everybody. That's too intimidating to them. They need to see him begging. They need to see the black man crying. They need to see the black Hispanic man down. That's why they make a slave movie. You see what I'm saying? Because that's all we was, a yes, a boss. When you read in history, how many slave revolts was it? How much fighting did the slaves do? I think they might have one or two movies that show that. I don't, you know. Mm-hmm. But the vast majority, y'all show, boss. I do, you know. I mean, it's, you know, it's sad, but it is true, man. Our people are victimized by the biggest animal on the planet. The most dangerous animal on the planet is our oppressors. Because this Columbus Day that we are talking about right now is celebrated in 2022, right now, and justified the murder and oppression of the Lord's chosen people, man. Salakia. Salaki, go ahead.
And if I could, sir, before we end it, we've been talking about these people being animals, the whole class. I got Ezekiel 34:8.
I'm so glad you're bringing those scriptures out. Most High in Christ.
Ezekiel 34:8. As I live, saith the Lord God. So this isn't my words. This isn't the UPK's word. This is the Lord speaking.
Most High in Christ.
Surely because my flock have become a prey, and my flock become meat to every beast of the field.
To every what?
Every beast of the field.
To every what?
Every beast of the field.
Go ahead.
Because there was no shepherd, neither did my shepherds search for my flock, but the shepherds fed themselves and fed not my flock. Man. Salaki, sir, if I may, it's right here. It's calling our oppressor the beast of the field.
I honestly do not know anything else to call them. You know, they are people that only understand destruction. They thrive on it. They get off on it. You know what I'm saying? They kill to make you march. Do you know how powerful they feel when they kill someone and the people go out crying and marching and burning up their own neighborhood? That just does something to them because it reminds them It reminds them of their physical hold on you. Let me tell you something. There's nothing more powerful that you can do. That the next time you read or hear on the news a black man gets shot in the back unarmed, is you contact the ISUPK and the Commander General Johanna and get in class. Make that a pattern. Walking up and down the street, marching and yelling, begging, not rebelling, but begging for acceptance, asking for change. They've been killing. How long have they been shooting black men in the back? Ain't no law yet. You tell an Asian woman she look like a light socket, and they create a law called Asian hate. You see what I'm saying? When you die, we die, man. We die. Listen, since when can't you run from the police? They catch you, that's evading, not death. Well, I mean, since when is it okay for you to die from running from the police? Since when is it justified for them to kick the door in without no warning, no knock? Kick the door in, kill someone, and get away with it. And then you go to jail if you defend your house. If you hear the door bust in, you don't hear nothing else. The door bust in. This is supposed to be, a country where you can defend yourself, correct?
Okay.
You defend yourself. Now it's attempted murder on a police officer. You ain't know it was a police officer. Listen, man, you're dealing with a beast of the field. You are dealing with an animal, and there's only one way to protect yourself against this beast, and that is the Lord. I'm telling y'all, that is the Lord. Nothing else will work. You will become a victim. Trust me. You will become a victim. Go ahead.
Yeah, so like I said, what you're bringing out is so heavy. It says right here, if you attempt to evade law enforcement in any way, or if you attempt to flee from an officer, you could face felony or misdemeanor charges.
Yes, it's all. Listen, it's a charge. You're not supposed to get shot in the back or shot at because you run from the police. That's just another charge. It's evading. You see what I'm saying? Now, police pull up on you and say he had a gun, right? In a right to carry state. So you're allowed to have a gun. You got the right to carry. You notice they don't say he went for his gun. And if you notice, listen, when the police get you, they'll grab you and say, stop resisting. It's the first they train to do that. You sitting here like this, they got 2-3 people grabbing you, they'll tell you to stop resisting. Why? Because if one of them busts you in the head, they can say he was resisting. What is all of this? All of this is just proving their animalistic behavior towards you. Man, let me tell you something. If you a gang member, right, and you out there gang banging in the street, everything you do, there's a charge for it. Ex-felon possession of a firearm, a burglary, shooting a firearm in the city limits, a drug possession, whatever the case may be. It's not illegal to be in a gang. Correct?
Okay.
Now we know the actions of the gangs are illegal, most of the actions. But the way that they treat the gangs is as they are an automatic threat. They don't do the biker gangs like that, though. The white gangs, they don't do like that. Skinheads are a gang. They walk around, they got they color's red. They got the boots on, they got the firearm or a knife, They walk around the city, they gang bang, they rob, they sell dope. They do all of these things. But you never hear of them being killed. Real quick, and I don't want to jump everywhere, but I'm about to jump somewhere else. During the war against Iraq, listen, America is at war with Iraq. There's a Iraqi population in America. They killing black men, the police. It wasn't no damn alhamdulillah. It wasn't none of them pulled over and shot. Did you hear about it?
Lies.
During war. During a war, they killing black, Hispanic, and Native Indians. That's still the number one enemy. I didn't hear nothing about no damn Iraqi getting pulled over. I heard about them spray painting a damn mosque and doing some crazy little white boy stuff that they did. But the death is always towards the Lord's chosen people, man. Salaki, you got anything else you want to say?
Lies, sir.
Salaki, a quick reminder, man. October 22nd, for Salaki, October 21st, we're gonna have a camp in downtown Louisville, Kentucky. We're gonna do it right on 4th Street and Liberty, and we're gonna blaze, man. We're gonna blaze, setting up our lecture the next day on the 22nd, and get there early, man. Get to the lecture early. We got time constraints, and we want y'all to be there to enjoy the brotherhood of ISUPK and the Commander General Yohana. We're gonna rock it out, man. And then after the lecture, we're gonna have a live broadcast of the podcast, I should say. Cry out, spare not, man. Officer Amawanga Bar and Officer Ayasaya Bayam gonna do their thing, man, with special guests, man. Should I tell them who special guest is, or should we wait?
It's like it's.
I'll let them do that.
Let them wait.
I'll let them do that. It's gonna be a special guest there, man. I'll just leave that there. But all of our content, man. ISUPK Kentucky on Facebook, YouTube. Go to the Cry Out Spare Not page and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe so they can get into the algorithms and start getting these views and start letting these youngsters that are in the world that sit there and look. They sit there on TikTok all day laughing and sending it to everybody. Let them start sending the clips of Cry Out Spare Not and the podcast, you know what I'm saying, to get a biblical spin on viral videos, man. You see what I'm saying? Monday, we do this history class. Tuesday, we got a brotherhood class that's live at 300 York Street, the main library, downtown Louisville, Kentucky. Wednesday, we have a law class that's done in Hobsonville, Kentucky, man. You know what I'm saying? Thursday, we have a scripture breakdown class. Friday, we have Lashawan Kodash, man. Let me tell y'all something, man. Mess with ISUPK Kentucky. We doing the Lord's work. We trying to raise this city and this zone up, and we gonna do it. Fuck this, Aslaki. To hell with that trying. We raising it up, man. And with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to Precinct Officer Howard.
Security announcements. Another ISUPK started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brother sister: when a new brother sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves in the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother sister has interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. Another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, a commandment. Numbers 18:21, Malachi 3:8-10. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Priest fund. Free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations.
We got the closing of the Feast of Tabernacles, which will be Monday the 17th.
We'll do a courtesy salute to the teacher. Amajim Shabbat. Amajim Barak. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shabbat.
Class dismissed.
Sir.